Google has added some interesting features that we wanted to talk about. One of them is creating a QR code in Chrome without any Chrome extension required. So the way that this works is very simple. Suppose you want to share a presentation with your students, or a Padlet, or a Google form that you want them to fill out, or even a link to a quizzes. All you have to do is click in here in the address bar where the URL is, and you'll see to the right there's a couple of different options. This one right here, the QR code, all you have to do is click on create a QR code for this page, and you will see a scannable code pops up. You can also download it, but it's really not necessary because your students should be able to scan this code with their camera app and then open up to whatever page it is that you have shared.
A new feature of Chrome that's been added is the reading list. If you have your bookmarks bar showing, you might have noticed on the far right that this option called reading list is now here. And the way the reading list works, it allows you to save websites to come back and read later. So for example, I have 4 websites open on the same topic that I may have researched, but I don't have time right now to look at them, but I would like to look at them later. If you keep them open, it clutters up your browser. If you put them in your reading list, you have them saved and you can get back to them easily. So to add something to the reading list, you click the star and then click add to reading list, and you can see that that lit up. So I'm going to go to all 4 of these and add them to my reading list so that I can read them at a later time. So now I can close each tab so it's not cluttering up my browser. And if I go here, I can see that these 4 are now unread. Now as soon as I click on one to read it, it opens it back up, and I am able to now see that that one is considered a page that I've read. So I know that I have seen that page, and I have these 3 still left to go back to. Once you're done with something from your reading list, you can click the X to remove it, and it will come off your list. And if you want to mark something as read, you can just click this checkbox here to indicate that you've already read it. Even though it's not showing up down here on the pages you've read, you can force it to by clicking the checkbox.
Another cool feature that Chrome has added is to do a quick tab search in Chrome. So if you're a person who is looking for information and before you know it, you've got 15 or 20 or way even more tabs open, it can be really hard to look at this information and see which tab contains the information that you want. And some people actually have anxiety about closing the tabs because they're afraid that they're not going to be able to get that information back. There's a shortcut called Control-Shift-A on a PC or Command-Shift-A on a Mac. And when you press that shortcut, you press those keys together, it actually opens up all of the tabs that you currently have open in a linear form. And then also it shows you your recently closed tab. So that can be helpful if, you can do a Command-Shift-T to open recently closed tabs, but this can be helpful just to see how many different things that you had open that maybe you didn't mean to close or maybe you want to refer back to. And it can maybe also ease some of the anxiety of closing the tabs so that your desktop doesn't end up looking really cluttered.
One of the cool new features of Google Chrome is to be able to group tabs together. So for example, let's say I teach one class and I have Schoology open for that course here, and then one of the documents we will be working on in class that day, and maybe we're also going to watch a YouTube video. Then I have a tab open for a different class, a document that we'll be looking at, and we're going to do something in quizzes. If I do that for all my preps, I'm going to have a lot of tabs open. It's going to get really crowded. So I can actually group tabs together and expand and minimize them. So to start, you're going to right click on one of your tabs, and you will add the tab to a new group. So let's just say that this is my period 1. I'll make it this pretty purple color. So now, if I look here, that pink goes onto that tab. Now if I move to this next tab and I right click, I can add tab to the period 1 group. And I also want to add this YouTube video that we're going to watch in period 1. Now, if I click period 1, all of those minimize down into that pink group. If I click it again, they expand out. If I click it again, they minimize. So now I can do the same thing with my next group, create a new group here. This is period 2, I'll make it this color. And now I can see that that color goes onto that tab, And if I right click and add to new group, I can add this one to period 2 and the quizzes that we're going to do to period 2. Now if I click period 2, it minimizes. If I click it, expands. It's a nice way to keep it clean as you're getting prepped for your school day so that each period or each prep that you have has all its tabs open and ready to go, but you don't have a million tabs across the top of your Chrome browser.
One more cool feature that Chrome has added is called Jump to Highlighted Text. The way that this works is if you are on a web page, for example, and you want to show your students some text, but you only want them to look at one specific paragraph or one specific section, you can highlight the text that you want, right-click, tap on Copy Link to Highlight, and that's going to be automatically added to your clipboard. You're going to paste that into a new window, and it's going to give them just that piece of text that you wanted highlighted for them to jump to. So this can be super handy if you're sharing an article, but you really just want your students to look at part of it. So again, the steps for that is to highlight the text you want, right-click, select Copy Link to Text, and then paste the link in a new tab. If you really want to get a little bit fancier, you can even create a QR code out of that so that when they scan that QR code, it's going to take them right to that page.
For many of us, as we're working throughout our day, we have several different Chrome windows open. So for example, I have this window open with everything I'm doing for work, and then I have this window open, maybe it's something personal that I don't want students to see, and I have it separate from everything else. And then in this situation, I have a third one. This is a test account I use to troubleshoot things going on with Schoology. So when you're working throughout your day and you have a lot of things open, if you notice when you float over this, it tells me that I have Schoology open, but I don't necessarily know which of the windows I'm working in, which one is it. And a lot of times we do this thing where we go back and forth and we're not sure where we are and what we have open. So this says Schoology as well. So I'm kind of, when I'm going quickly, I can get a little bit lost. So this new feature Chrome has allows me to name a window. And the way that I do that is I go up here into the space left over where there aren't any active tabs and right click. And now I can name this window. Let's say this is for school. And we'll go to this one. And we'll say that this one is for home or personal. And then I'll go here to this last one and I will name this one test student. So once I do that and I float over these, now they're named. So this one's named school, this one is named home, and this one is named test student. So it's just a little thing you can do to make navigating through your open Chrome windows a little bit simpler.